Hey guys, my name is Ali, known as the Photoshop Hustler. If this is your first time seeing me, make sure you check my Instagram. I'm gonna link it down in the description below. So if you're coming from part 1, I hope you're ready. And if you haven't watched part 1 yet, I'm gonna put a card somewhere up here where you can click it and watch part 1, how we came up with this idea. So let's get started. So basically this is what we reached the idea last time in part 1. We had this wood and in the middle we had that some sort of a galaxy glowing on our guy here. But I changed it a bit. I wanted the below part to look more like a diamond, so I tried to add this part to make it more like a diamond, and I added this on my columns. So let's get started. Let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of the guy. And let's get started with our textures. Here they are. Let's start with the background first. I'm gonna drag this one. This is our background. I'm gonna put it all the way down. I have to make it a bit bigger because I don't want these mountains. Okay, let's try to add a little bit spice to the background. I'm gonna try this image here. Let's put it on screen mode, or let's try overlay. Actually, I like overlay. You see how it's interacting with everything. Let's try overlay. Let's make it, but I guess we have to make it much bigger because this image, as you can see in the normal, it's black in the edges and black will make everything totally dark. So in overlay, soft light is actually better, it's a bit brighter, so let's stick with the soft light and I'll make it somehow bigger, but it's not so shiny, it's dull. Let's try overlay. Let's try screen. Okay, I'll stick with screen, but screen made everything brighter, so on the layer below of that I'm gonna add curves and I'm gonna make everything much darker. So now we have this beautiful combination, and we can always lower the opacity of the screen we made. Or we can make it like that, I guess, with curves, and make sure it's linked on your screen only. Okay, so now we added some sort of a sparkle. I like it. Now it's time to start adding the wood. So let's take the wood texture. Okay, I have to make sure it's on top of the curves, and now the curves is unlinked, so I'm gonna hold Alt and link it again, hold Alt and link it again, and I'm gonna put this on top of the left one, Alt click, so it's linked on it, and Control T and make sure it's like a linear. I'm stretching it inside so it looks like it's more linear, so it matches the column. I'm gonna darken this one by -50, I guess, or -30. And I'm still confused. I don't know this one should be outside or inside, but let's try to take any of the textures we have. Let's try one of these glowing textures. I'll make it from left to right, and I'm gonna overlay it on top of this. Let's make this much brighter. I guess this one will only work if it's dark. So let's darken it a lot, something like that. So now it looks like it's somewhat inside. The wood is also too bright. Let's darken it a bit. So now I'm not darkening the wood, I'm darkening the layer which is below the wood, which is this layer. So darkening this layer will darken the wood because the wood is in overlay. So let's darken by -50 again. And now let's, on the side of the wood, let's add a new layer. I'm gonna add some like light blue color, something like that. That's too much. I need even brighter on the edge here, and even brighter. And let's try the overlay or the screen. Let's try doing both screen and then another one which is overlay, and make sure it's linked, of course. So now we have two. Now I don't like the color of the wood, so I'm gonna control hue the wood. So now I have the hue saturation. Now I'm gonna lower the color of the wood, and no, I'm not gonna darken it. I'm just gonna increase the contrast and darken the one below of it. And I'll try actually darkening the wood just a little bit, increasing its contrast. Okay, now much better. Let's lower the opacity of the lights we added to 60%, both of them 66%. And now we have the left column. Let's duplicate it. Let's delete the right column. Let's put the left column on the right side and flip it horizontal on that side. So I'm gonna use the same wood texture and implement the same way. Just make sure the texture perspective is matching. It doesn't look off or anything. Make it just a little bit bigger. Oh, something just went completely wrong. I'll make it a bigger before I stretch it down. Just make sure you have a matching perspective, and control click this one. No, it's not that one. Okay, it's this one. Then add a layer mask, or just put it on top and link it and change the blending mode to overlay. Let's make sure the wood, by pressing Ctrl M for curves, is more contrasty and it has no color or much less color. Let's darken it a little bit. It's too bright. Yeah, something like that. I need it to be like somehow muted with no color. Let's duplicate it and flip it vertical. But this time I'm gonna link it to the diamond below. And let's duplicate another one, and this time I'm gonna link it but to the upper part and a bit of change of perspective. So now we have the three parts. I'm gonna brighten this one just a little bit so we create some sort of separation between every level and the other one. Okay, now let's try bringing some of the textures we have. Let's just put it on top of all the wood we have. And where's the last one? This is the last one. And I'm gonna add a layer mask. So I got the selection and added a layer mask of this. I need to add this one and that one as well. So I'm gonna paint with white on the layer mask to reveal. Okay, the texture is too small. We need to just move it. So now we have this texture, but of course it's too strong. Let's try something like screen or color dodge. Color dodge, I like it. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna press Ctrl G. This is the way to do two masks on top of each other. I'm gonna add a layer mask. Then I'm gonna press Ctrl I so it's invisible. Now I'm gonna use any brush I have. I have a dust brush actually. I guess this will work. I'm gonna make sure it's on white, and I'm just gonna bring back some of this shiny sparkle we had on the top just to give it some sort of a texture. So I'm gonna go to my sparkle folder and let's bring that galaxy. Make sure it's on top of everything, and let's try screen moving it. So now we have the galaxy here in the middle. Actually, I'm gonna try something, camera raw filter. I want this to be like this circle to be a lot bigger. Sorry, it's in liquify, filter liquify. And I'm gonna use the pucker tool or the bloat tool, both will work, but the bloat will not have us hold alt. And I'm gonna just bloat the middle area like that so it's more popping out. And let's add a layer mask. Let's using a black soft brush, get rid of the edges of this. And this is not very clear because whatever is behind of it is too bright. So to fix that, we have to make whatever behind is darker. So I'm gonna create a curves adjustment layer and I'm gonna make everything behind much darker, something like that. So the shine of the galaxy will look even better. Let's make the galaxy bigger to fill the whole area like that. So now we can see it much better. But then we need to emphasize the light a little bit. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a layer and I'm gonna draw some sort of a square in the middle. I'm gonna put any color, it doesn't matter. I like this color actually. Let's try putting it on screen mode and let's do a Gaussian blur so it looks like it's glowing somehow. And let's bring down the fill. Okay, so now we have some sort of a light in the middle. Let's Control J this one, but this time I'm gonna make the fill 0. Now it's invisible. Then I'm gonna go to blending options. Now if I add any of the blending options, it's gonna be visible, but the layer is not visible. So let's try the outer glow. And let's try a slight cyanish color like that. Let's increase the size. Let's increase the range to make it more faded, and let's reduce the opacity a little bit, something like that. So now we have some sort of another glow. Actually, I have an issue with this. This is too bright, more than it should be. This layer, I guess. Yeah, we have too much bright. So I'm just gonna sample this color and kill that bright area and go back. Now we have this here, it's causing an issue. I don't want these sharp lines. And then when I look down here, this is too bright as well. This is also too bright. So I'm just gonna contrast it and darken it. This one as well, I'm gonna darken it even more. And here I'm gonna darken, no, not this one, this one. I'm gonna dark. I wanna get this one. Layer 2, okay. Actually, something like that is this cyan color. Hit this as well, something like that. And let's put it into overlay or soft light. Soft light is better. And let's use black to darken the edges a little bit so that the light is only hitting like the middle area. Let's do another layer. This time, actually, let me drag one of my light leaks, this one of the lens flares I have, and let's try the screen mode and let's put it somewhere here so that we have some sort of a light, but I wanna stretch it so much down, something like that. And let me put it on top of everything. Now I want to do one last thing. I want to draw something like that. Let's add any color, it doesn't matter. And I'm gonna do an inner glow to it. Inner glow. Make sure it's like the blue. Okay, because it's totally black, we can't really see it. Oh no, we can see it, but because we had that choke. So I'm gonna do this sort of blue, and I'm gonna range it. Something like that. Let's change the blue to cyan. And I'm gonna press OK. Then I'm gonna bring the fill all the way down to 0. So now we only have like the gate, but I need to blur it. I'll blur it actually much more, something like that, so it looks more like a sort of light. And let's lower the opacity so it looks like it's glowing. Okay, now it's time to add our model. Let's bring this guy. I guess select subject will do it. So I just used the magic wand, select subject. It did pretty good job, it just missed some areas. So I'm gonna hold shift with the lasso tool and select the areas it missed. And the areas it didn't select, I'm gonna select by mistake, I'm gonna remove. Also, I need to get rid of this rock and get rid of that area between his legs. You can do this more accurately if you'd like to, but I'm going fast for the sake of the tutorial. And as you can see, we have some sort of an edge. I'll just press select and mask or refine mask in some cases, and if you have an older version of Photoshop, I'll add a radius, then I'll smooth out a little bit, I'll feather out the edges a little bit, contrast, and then I'll shift the edge to the inside to get rid of all the whites we had on the edges. Now let's make our model much smaller to make this gate look like it's huge and monumental. So now let's take a far away look. I like it. I like how everything is going. I'm afraid it's a bit dark. I'm gonna brighten everything up a little bit at the end. Let's make our guy even smaller. Something like that is good. Now let's add hue saturation. Let's link it to him. Let's press colorize. Let's make it something very bright, cyan, something like that. We're gonna draw some sort of an edge light around him. So I'm gonna press Ctrl I. Then I'm gonna use a white brush to bring back some of this light I just created on his edges, so that this huge object look like it's glowing of some sort of very strong light. It doesn't matter if the color is not perfect for now, we can always fix it. And I guess we're gonna need to draw some shadow for him, because there is like some strong source of light hitting. Okay, I'm happy with the edge light, but I'm not happy with its color. It's too dark for an edge light. As you can see, it's not so bright. So I'm just gonna make it even brighter like that. So after blurring the shadow, I'm gonna add a layer mask. I'm gonna make sure the shadow is getting faded from down below. And I'll lower the opacity of the shadow, so now we have some sort of a shadow. And I'm gonna also give him some feet shadow, just with a small brush. I'll make everything smaller and just shadow under his feet, because usually where the source of shadow is, it's more like darker. And let's try moving this nebula behind, and let's see the photos we have. Let's try the bokeh. I guess it can work better as a background, or let's put it on top of everything and see how it's gonna look like. Something like that. And let me Ctrl M, because it's in screen mode. When I make it darker, it's gonna be more invisible. And let's just lower the opacity. And let's change its color. Actually, I don't like that orange color at all. Let's try the purple color, looks good, or maybe the blue, or the cyan. It adds some sort of light to the whole image. So I'm gonna add a layer. I'm gonna use that. And let's just add some light with the cyan color. And let's put it onto overlay or soft light or screen, color dodge, and let's just lower the opacity. So now we have some sort of like a cyanish color around of it. So I guess now it's time to add our final adjustments. I'm gonna add a curves adjustment, pull the blacks up, pull this down, and make the brights even brighter. And now I'm gonna hold Ctrl Alt Shift then press E. So now I merged everything into a one layer. Now I'm gonna use Camera Raw filter, and I'm gonna let's reduce the highlights, increase whites. This I always like to do. Increase shadows, reduce blacks, lower texture, lower clarity, and lower dehaze. And then I like to use the radial filter on the parts where I want the eyes to be attracted to, and I'll increase everything that will make the eyes more attracted to that area. Something like that. So now you see it's much sharper here in the middle and much clear. Let's add more sharpness. Now let's do some color grading. In the highlights, I'm gonna add some cyan color. In the shadows, I'm gonna add some blue color, or let's try even cyan in the shadows. I guess I like the blue color combined with the cyan, but I wanna bring the highlights a bit higher. Something like that. And let's give the whole image a bit of blue. And let's do one final sharpening and dehazing on the guy and on the middle area. It got it a little bit darker, so let's work on brightening it up a little bit. And I guess that's it for today's tutorial. If you have any questions or suggestions, make sure you write them in the comment section down below. Thank you guys.